Somebody asked me if I could go back in time, would I change anything? Would I strip away and take away the hardship? Would I take away the grief? Would I take away the loneliness or the addiction that I went through? The answer is no. I will not change anything. As much as I want to take the pain away from the people that I love.
Welcome to Daily Power Boost. I'm Sean Michael. This isn't a podcast about pushing harder or fixing yourself. It's a space to see clearly how your experience is actually being created. Each episode offers a simple shift in understanding, not a tactic, not a hustle, a clearer view of thought, identity, and the patterns you've been living inside. Because when misunderstanding drops, relief rises, energy returns. You move forward with calm, sovereign clarity. This is your Daily Power Boost. Welcome back to Daily Power Boost. Today on Beyond the Boost, I'm joined by Mia Godfrey. Her life story stretches from growing up under communism in Romania to navigating loss, caregiving, and rebuilding life after grief. Somewhere in all of that, she had to ask a question most of us face eventually. Who do you become when the life you expected disappears? Mia, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean.
So excited to talk to you more and hear more about your experience and the lessons you've learned that have created the woman we're listening to or watching before us today. So, as I said in the pre-meeting, most people that are listening have not lived under communism. What did everyday life actually feel like growing up in Romania?
So, living under the communist regime, it's different than the version that I heard when I came here from the States. For us, what that meant is it was a game of survival. Every single day, I've seen my parents day in, day out. Their main objective was to make sure they put food on the table. Sometimes was only once a day because our food was restricted by the government. And I remember even as a 5 and 6 year old, I used to go with my mom at 5 a.m. in the morning to be in line at a baker store. And there was security at the door with guns. And my mom had a little card that we had to give to the baker, and the baker used to sign it that we took our food for the day. And for that, it meant it was one a 6-inch piece of bread for each person in our family. So you can think like a family of 10 children. I was the youngest. I have 6 brothers. That was never, ever enough food for them because 6-inch piece of bread the entire day, it was never enough. So for us, it was more fighting for survival and finding day to day food. And it was a blessing when we had one meal a day, like full meal.
Yes. And was there a moment as a kid when you realized the world outside Romania looked very different from your experience?
The truth is that we didn't even know for the longest time that there was a world outside of our country. We were so like even what we watched on television or the radio, everything was so controlled that the first time I ever had contact with the outside world, that which we call it, which was America, was I was 13 years old, and somebody brought us some packages. And I've learned when I came here that was called Operation Christmas Child. So they told us that those came from America. And the only thing we knew about America was a show that we watched in the 90s that it was called Dallas. And even when I came here in 2008, my mom, one of her first question was, "Does everybody wear those cowboy hats and boots like Bobby, the main character, used to wear?" And I was like, "No, no." So I was 13 years old the first time I heard of America.
Yes. And what were the lessons about resilience and survival, perhaps that you didn't even realize you were learning at the time?
One of the things that we've learned, again, as the youngest of 10, my family showed us it was very loving and we were very close to each other. And one, we've learned to meet people where they're at and love them unconditionally, and also to give. Even when we had nothing, my mom said, always look around and see if you can find somebody less fortunate and try to bless them in some way. And if you realize you have absolutely nothing to give them, just give them a smile or a hug. So even through those hard times, for the longest time, we didn't even know we were poor. We thought that that was something that we all had to go through. And we did not realize we didn't have much. So, the lessons of resilience that I've learned is to be grateful for everything because um, there's so many people out there that have less than we do.
Yes. All right. In our pre call, you shared with me about losing your husband. And of course, something like that, when that happens, it's not just the emotional grief, it changes how you see yourself. What part of your identity disappeared with that loss?
So I met my husband 2007 and I moved to the States in 2008. We were married for 7 years before unexpectedly he passed away. He was 42 years old. So before that, um, I remember a lot of times he was talking about that we need to have conversation. Hey, if something happens to me, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, nope, we're never gonna talk about that because we're gonna grow old together. And I did not want to listen to any of that. So when he passed away, I was left in a country that I did not know how to function on my own because my husband was my caretaker. I was working a full-time job, but I didn't even know how to go to the bank. I was so lost when he passed that I had to completely start over. And yes, I had an identity shift and I completely changed because I made a commitment that I would never I will dedicate my life in helping men and women that go through loss to I would prepare myself to have the proper tools to help them because I will never wanna me or anybody else that I know to go through that. I became stronger in a sense. I became independent because I had no choice. I tried to go back to Romania and they told me I lost my citizenship, so I had no choice but stay here in the States. I end up getting 3 jobs to make sure I'm not losing my car, my house, my everything. Um, but those were part of my life lessons that helped me become who I am today. And in the process, I hope I can help somebody else.
And in the quiet moments after a loss like that,
Mhm.
what would you say is the hardest part about rebuilding your life?
One of them is
I mean,
long.
you talked about 3 jobs and
Yeah,
doing everything you could
yeah.
to
Um, that was having 3 job was not the hardest. The hardest part was the loneliness. Growing up surrounded by so many people, I was driven and motivated by connection and love, and out of nowhere to wake up and there's absolutely nobody, no family. Um, it was really, really hard. And what that taught me that to trust people around me and allow the friends to step in and allow people to help me because um, community saves lives, truly, truly saves lives. Because I got to the point, at one point, I said, what's the point of living? I don't know where to go from here. And I had a sweet, sweet lady in the community that for 6 months straight, she came on my door and left soup and ran and said, I know you don't talk to anybody because I completely shut down. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I used to get up at 5:30, go to first job, go to the second job, get home past 11 o'clock. And she never gave up on me, ever. So I will forever be grateful for that, because that's another thing. We expect sometimes for everybody to grieve the same way and say you have to go through these steps, and but that's not the reality, because the way I grew up, the only thing I did, I shut down. I shut down and I buried myself in work. But yet, there were people who had patience and they showed me love. And for 6 months, she brought me food on my door. I will never, ever forget that.
Yes. What was the moment when you realized you couldn't keep living the same way anymore?
Oh, I did not realize that until I met my second husband. Um, so I met my second husband in 2020. And in 2023, I went again through a season of caring. One of my sisters got diagnosed with cancer. So I moved back and forth to Montana to take care of her. And my husband was there every step of the way. And once again, going through grief, I went through the similar stages. I said, what is my purpose? Why am I even here? But he told me that, look, he said, it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. You want to cry, you want to scream, do whatever you need to do. Um, but him believing in me and being there for me a lot of times silently, that is what help me to says like, you know what, maybe there is more to life. Maybe we're put on this life, no matter what we're going through, maybe we're put on this life to help somebody else. And if we already went through it and we came on the other side, maybe we can give hope to somebody else. And he truly, truly helped me to keep fighting.
Amen. That's powerful. And going off of your story of this season of caring for your sisters
Mhm,
dealing with cancer, often when someone is in that role, they put their whole life on hold. So for you, looking back, what did that chapter demand from you?
mhm. I remember I have friends that reach out to my husband and they say, "Hey, we're really worried about Mia because she's not taking care of herself." I was taking care of my sister, and my boss, what I was working at the time, they told me that I can work remote, and but I was a caretaker for her 24/7. And in that period of time, I I put on like over 20 pounds, but I wasn't really eating that much because I was cooking like extremely healthy food for her. So my body was reacting in weird way due to the stress. But I was sleeping sometimes only 3 to 4 hours a night, maybe not even that. I had an alarm that every 2 hours I was waking up to give her medication. And I've learned a lot through that season. And I told my husband, look, this is a season that, like you said, I have to put my life on hold. I said, this is not the time to take care of myself. I said, it's time to take care of Mona, my sister, and I will take care of myself when I got home. Now, that's not the advice I will give to anybody else, because um, it's okay to still take the time and take care of yourself. I felt like it would be selfish of me to take care of myself, but I learned through all of that 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 was not the case. It's okay to still take the time, take care of yourself, because you cannot pour from the empty cup. So when I came back to my husband after 11 months, I was completely disconnected from the world. Once again, I was going through that um, dark. Uh,
Valley of the soul, dark valley of the soul
yes,
moment?
yes. I said, "What's the purpose? What's the purpose?" And with his patience and guidance, I went and saw the right therapist, and he helped me realize, there is a purpose. Maybe I can help somebody walk through that journey and tell them, look, it's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's not. But the whole time I was like, it's not right. It's not right to take care of myself when somebody I love is dying.
Right. Well, and you said it not only is it okay to take care of yourself, it's important
Yes,
to take care of yourself. Like they say on
yes,
the airplane, right?
yes.
Put your
But
mask on first
yes, yes.
because, you know, you're right. It's often we get caught up in this, like,
Mhm.
I can't take time for me because this person needs so much. So I would be
Yes.
selfish.
Mhm.
It's standing here today, we can look back and go, that was crazy. Like, what were they
Yes.
thinking? But in the moment, it's like, no, I got to.
Yeah,
I got to.
yeah.
And it sounds like in that I had a question, like, did you ever feel like you lost yourself? What you described, it sounds like perhaps
Oh,
you did.
yes.
You feel like
Yes.
you did lose yourself or that.
Yeah. My sister, everybody who knew us, they knew that she was my lifeline. We were like twins. She was 13 months older than me, but we've done everything together. And she was the one that, as children, we went through so much abuse and addiction, and she was the one that always knew. And as kids, we made a promise to each other that we will take those things with us to the graves, and the abuse. There was so much she knew, and when she passed, I was like, I have nobody in the world. Yes, I have an amazing, loving husband, and I adopted his two children, wonderful kids. But I was like, I can't tell them. They will never understand the pain that we went through together, and we were always there by each other. Um, but then I've learned that I was 5 years old when I made some of those promises. And no, a 5-year-old should not make promises to say, I'll take them to the grave. And a 6-year-old should make promises to say, I'm going to take them to the grave. So that's one of the reason I wrote the book, Buried Not Broken. We start writing it together, some of the chapters when she was still alive. She was writing in her journal, and some of them are the stories that we experienced as children during the communists that we promise we will never tell anybody, because in our little minds, a 5-year old 6-year old, we thought we were protecting our parents and we're protecting our siblings by not telling them the truth. But we Whitney had the mental capacity to make those
Right.
promises. So when she passed, yes, I feel like my personality changed, and I've learned that when you lose somebody you love, society sometimes expects for you to be the same person, but you cannot. You cannot, because those lessons you went through completely change who you are mentally, emotionally, physically. And the idea that you can be the same, it's not realistic.
And I would say, yes, those seasons are painful, they're
Yes.
challenging, but I feel like they're also applied correctly,
Mm.
they're lessons that we
Yes.
learn. And
Yes.
you've shared on several points how in the moment it was hard to see the sun through the clouds, but standing here today, you're like, okay, I'm
Yes.
seeing the connections. I'm seeing how this serves a purpose today. At the
Hmm.
time, it didn't make any sense in
No.
the world.
I'm still thinking now. I go back and I think of little things my sister used to say. For example, I love doing dishes by hand now. The reason why, I remember when she was sick, she was sitting in the wheelchair and I was doing dishes. And she said, Sis, I will do anything right now to be able to do my own dishes. And that thought stayed with me. I was like, how many times I complained and griped about doing dishes? And from somebody who's so ill. and she knows she's dying. She said, "I will give anything I have right now to do my own dishes." That changes your perspective.
Right.
Now I'm like,
Powerful.
"Okay, I'm gonna do dishes because I get to do them." And that's not always the case. So little nuggets like that, I look back and said, I've learned so many lessons through that.
Right. And that kind of event, those comments like that, that from the outside, they're like, those
Yeah.
were like, don't make, but to you standing there,
Yes. Yeah.
these are the things that teach us what really matters in life.
Yeah.
And I want to, before I move on, you mentioned the book that was
Mhm.
recently released, right? Very
Last
not.
week, March the 3rd.
I'll make sure to put a link in the show notes to that book. And do I recall correctly? You've got something else in the works around that?
Yes. I'm actually on the third book. The second one, hopefully, we're going to start advertising by the summer, and then we'll submit the third manuscript.
All right. So, some point in your life, you decided life's too short. You started over kind of a couple times.
Yes.
What was the moment when it all became real for you?
After about 3 months of going to therapy, um, because I was so broken, I said, I just don't see what's. And my therapist asked me to write in a journal. And my first thought, I said, this is the dumbest thing. I don't want to do it because I don't want anybody else to see like my thoughts. No. But she said, humor me. So I did. So I wrote in the journal, and fast forward few months later, she asked me if she can read some, which I thought it was ridiculous, but I allowed her to. And she said, you got to publish it. And again, I thought it was a crazy idea, but fast forward now a few years later, my book that started from me writing in a journal, it became actually a real dream, and I will continue to write until the day I die. So from that one, it also I realized I love my job, and I've been in this role, like at this company, for 17 years.
Mhm.
And my boss, my coworkers, they know I love what I do. But in the same time, that job doesn't always makes me feel that I fulfill my duty. Like I don't always feel like I make a difference in somebody's life. So with everything that's been going on, I got 3 certifications in the last 2 years, and in the next few months, I'm gonna start traveling from time to time to be a keynote speaker and also life coach. Because if I could just help somebody that hit rock bottom like I did, if I can help only one person, it will be worth it.
Yeah. I understand what you mean. Like, you can love the job and have a good relationship with your colleagues, your bosses, but it doesn't hit that spot of your purpose and your
Yeah.
meaning, like what you are sensing internally. And it sounds like this was a subtle, like it wasn't loud, it was kind of just happened. And my wife's first book that she's published in 2 languages now was the same thing. It was started with journal questions that
Yeah.
were very personal and very private, and then something inside, "You gotta publish this. This is going to help other people
Mm,
who are suffering in silence from what you've processed through."
mhm.
Alright, so this show, as you know, because I remember you told me you listen regularly, as you know, is about reinvention, shifting identity, aligning with our purpose, and finding meaning in life, and really getting out of autopilot and choosing
Yeah.
who we become. You said you have plans to go on a speaking tour of sorts.
Yeah.
And I met somebody one time and she said, "Oh yeah, I'm a paid public speaker." And they're like, "Oh, how did you do that?" She goes, "I just started telling people I'm a public speaker." And
Mm,
she lived into it.
yeah.
And I see that with you. But after everything you've lived through, Mia, all the challenges growing up under communism, getting out, starting a new life, it's ripped away.
Mm.
Getting back on your feet, like you said, you remarried, found a wonderful man that was loving and supportive, and your sister gets sick, and you go through that, and you like, life's beat you up.
A few times.
But how would you describe this person you've become today?
Somebody asked me if I could go back in time, would I change anything? Would I strip away and take away the hardship? Would I take away the grief? Would I take away the loneliness or the addiction that I went through? The answer is no. I will not change anything. As much as I want to take the pain away from the people that I love, I know that ultimately was the purpose in that pain. And I wouldn't have been here today talking to people all over the world because that's what my life coaching is about if I wouldn't went through all of that. And I say if anybody, anything we're going through, there is a purpose. Even if we don't see it right now, there is a purpose. So it did make me stronger in my faith. It made me more resilient. It made me more where I feel that I can go through any storm, and now I have a support system. I know where to go. I know how to find the answers because everything I learned in the process, and I'm able to help others walking through those storms as well. So I would not change the past. I will change the pain they experience if I could.
Right. Make it less painful at least.
Hmm. Yeah.
I totally understand that because I heard it and I don't know, I can't remember, I can't pinpoint exactly where I heard this. Was it a quote by some, sage person or if it was just something, but it said the reconciled mind says everything that happened to me had to happen in order to make me who I am today.
That's powerful
It is
and
powerful.
true.
It's not easy.
No,
It's not easy,
no.
you know, and I actually saw that in my training. My trainer was telling a story when he was in a training and the trainer was working with people and he was talking to them about, have you gotten grateful for the events that happened?
Hmm.
And this woman stood up and she looked at him and she's like, "Are you crazy? I was abused as a child." He's like, "I'm not minimizing, like, that's terrible. That's terrible that happened to you." And he says, "And what do you do today?" And she's like, "Well, I'm trying to raise money for abused women." He's like, "And how's that going?" She's like, "It's a struggle." He says, "Once you reconcile and have gratitude for that event, I promise you things will change." And she worked through it and she got to the place of gratitude, of releasing it, and raised hundreds of thousands of dollars almost effortlessly for her
Yeah.
mission.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive. Like everything inside us says, no way can I be like, I can't even forgive
Yes.
the people,
Hmm.
let alone to actually move to gratitude. But I hear that in your words, Mia, that, you wouldn't go back and change it. Like, yeah, the
Mm-mm.
pain, the challenges were tough. And but the lessons, the things you learned, the things you gained were powerful.
And you cannot get that out of a textbook in school.
No, you cannot. Or 100 different courses.
Yes.
And what would you say people misunderstand about starting over later in life?
Mm. I am actually so energized right now about starting over. 20 years ago, I would have been terrified because the certainty, what ifs. Now I don't care about what ifs because I know my work ethic and I know my mission and I know the vision. I know I want to impact as many people as I can. And there is no room for people say failure. I believe that failure is actually part of the learning experience. There's nothing bad in that. So I'm really energized and excited about what's to come. And I mentor a young girl, and she said, I'm just scared to death. Like, what if things are not going to work out? I said, well, maybe God and maybe universe doesn't want that thing to work out, but it has things lined up for you in a better way. You just have to trust the process. Put your head down, work as hard as you can, and believe in it. Believe that it's going to happen. And yes, I do believe that I'm starting in a way from scratch, a brand new career, a brand new
New
work,
path,
new
right?
path. But I am not afraid because every step of the way, I am going to meet the right people that is going to help me with the next step. And I don't need to see the whole picture. I don't need to see what's going to happen 5 years from now because we were programmed that you have to have goals and they have to be smart goals and X, Y, and Z. But I don't want to have the whole picture. I just want to focus on today. And if I did my best today, I'm going to have my agenda for tomorrow and the top three things I'm going to focus and take each day as it comes. But if I can bless one person and reach down and take them with me that day, then that's a win. So let's move to the next. But I used to do the 5 year plan, not anymore. I'm just, okay, what God has for me, what the universe has for me, I'm here to do the best
Well,
that I
yeah,
can.
and I think, having a 5-year vision
Yes. Vision.
is good,
Yes.
but the problem is people have this 5-year plan and they get locked in, and like you said,
Not
it's like
flexible.
no flexibility, right? I think part of the SMART, the SMART, part of it is good,
Hmm.
but I also think it can become our limit,
Yes. Yes.
right? I like a good balance of the SMART goals, right? The
Hmm.
specific, measurable, time-based, uh,
Attainable.
realistic,
Yeah.
attainable. Yes, they're valuable, but I also like dumb goals,
Hmm.
which are dream driven. Oh, I can't remember what the U is, but it's about, going big, having a
Yeah.
huge dream that everybody looks at you like you're nuts.
Yes.
Like you
I
can't do
seen that look lately quite a bit. But it's more like somebody told me you need to focus on the growth 1% a day and think about an entire year. If you grow like 1% a year from now, you're going to be over 300% like wiser, smarter. Just do
It's
the
actually
next
it's
thing,
actually
the
bigger
next
than
thing.
that. It's actually
Right?
bigger than that because it's not
Right?
like 1% a day times 365 days. It's kind of like the penny that doubles every day for 30
Right?
days turns into $5 million. All right, I've got the dumb goals. Dream driven, uplifting,
Okay.
like what you said, they bring, your goals are so big and so amazing. You're just like, I'm ready to go. I got the energy. Let's do
Yes.
this. They're method friendly. So they're aligned with
Mhm.
our habits and our
Mhm.
style. And B is behavior triggered,
Yeah.
right? And I would say, the underlying is the identity. Like I was talking to a person, she's like, "Oh, one day I'm gonna be an author." I said, "Wait, wait, 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 wait. Now change that. I'd like you to say this. I am an aspiring author." I knew this person, I couldn't just say, like the lady that just started saying, "I'm a paid public speaker," and not
I
everybody
am.
can make that jump. Not everybody can make that jump. So I gave her baby steps. It's
Yeah.
like you said, Mia, right? Take a
Yeah.
little step at a time. Like a baby, they don't think, "How do I get from here to the thing I want?" They get up and they take a step and, like you said, fail, fall on their
Mhm.
face. They get up, they get 2 steps out, boom, fall on their face. Do they give up? No. It's like my favorite Japanese phrase, "Nana karoshi ya oki," and I hope I didn't massacre that because I do
Nanaka.
have listeners who speak Japanese. But in English, the message is fall 7, get up 8,
Um,
right? It acknowledges that you're going to fall. Things are not going to work out.
mm,
Get up, take your lessons, pivot, and go forward.
yeah.
Now, if someone is listening, Mia, and they feel like their whole life just fell apart, what would you say to them about where to start in the process of rebuilding?
I'll say start writing down what's close to your heart. If you could close your eyes today and just dream, okay, if I wake up tomorrow and my all my dreams are fulfilled, how does that life look like? What time you're waking up? Where are you going to work? Are you staying home? Are you writing? Are you speaking? What does that look to you? So even for the ones that don't have to start over, but they don't feel fulfilled, I will say write down how that perfect life looks like and start taking small steps towards it. Because one of my biggest push was I had so many people in my life that died before 45, and I realized I'm 45, life is too short and there's no guarantee tomorrow. So the question I'm asking myself, if I die today, what have I lived a fulfilled life? I feel like I lived a good life, but did I truly feel like I made a difference? So that is my motor, I think, every day to try said, I want to leave a legacy. I want to do more. I want to impact more people. I want to help more people. So I'll say give the same advice. If you feel stuck and you are not in a place where you feel fulfilled, as long as you have breath in your lungs, you still have time. You still have time. You just need to start taking the step towards it. I don't know if maybe that looks like finding a mentor. That looks like, hey, start listening to a good podcast that it will keep you motivated and keep you energized. Maybe start finding a community of people that will help you and guide you towards the life you want. Because if you stay, somebody said, if I stay in front of Netflix all day and just eat junk food, that's not going to give me the life I want. So start surround yourself with the people that you want to become like.
Yes. Well, and I would say, change your thinking. Like,
Mhm.
actually, Dale Carnegie in How to Win Friends, and I love this quote,
Mm,
How to Win Friends and Influence People. He said, if you're happy with your life and the way things are, why change?
right?
But if you're not, why not experiment,
I love it.
right? Try
Yes.
something new. Take a small step. See if that works for you. Maybe it
Yeah.
does. Maybe it doesn't. Then try something else. My wife, for 30 plus years of marriage, I heard her again and again and again. I'm not creative. I'm not creative.
But then she wrote how many books?
She wrote one book in 2 different languages, and then a second book. Actually, she got the first book done, and she's like, "That's it, I'm done." That was exhausting, that was a lot of work. She comes back from a walk, she's like, "I'm writing another book." I go, "Oh, okay, great, honey." She's like, I was telling God, like, "No, I'm done."
Mhm.
She's like, "The chapters," she's like, "It just was
Kept
like this,
coming.
it just kept flowing because we change our thinking, we open ourselves up to something bigger than
Mhm.
ourselves."
Yes.
And like you said, when we have that, Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich calls
Mhm.
it the burning desire,
Yes.
right? Your definite purpose. When you know that,
Mhm.
energy, another year on the calendar. You said, Mia, you saw a lot of your friends, family, etc., who didn't make it past 45,
Yeah.
and you're there. I saw this early when I was in the military. I was in my 20s, and one of my shipmates, 24 years old, fell down dead.
Mm.
And everybody would have said, like, he went to the gym, they thought he was healthy, like, nobody, like, what happened? He had a heart attack. And then I lost my parents, both my parents and my father-in-law before age 60.
Mm. Yeah.
My dad would have been, let's see, this is 26. He died in 99. Yeah, just before his 56th birthday,
Mm.
58th birthday. It's been really on my mind. I turned 57 this year.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yes,
He
that
died.
it makes
Yes.
it a little, my mom
Real.
made it to yeah, it makes it more real. It's
Yeah.
something that's always there,
Yeah.
but I have a burning desire to touch more lives. I want
Mhm.
to impact suicide,
Mm.
especially in men, and
Mm.
reduce it by 1% minimum,
Yeah, that's a
because
beautiful
too
goal.
many people take a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And I think that's what I saw
Mhm.
throughout your story, Mia, is the reason you were like all these challenges you faced, the things you went through, that taught you the one core message that it taught you, like, what you could handle,
Yeah.
right? You've handled all this other stuff because you
Yeah.
could look back on that and like, I got out of communism. got,
Mhm.
I survived this. I survived that. You
Yeah.
rose above from the ashes more times than you probably care to count.
Mm. And I would love to help others in the process as well. When the book came out, I had a few people actually, few from Romania, one from Australia, Canada, and one from Switzerland that they reached out, never met them before, and they said, reading your book brought so many memories because I realized our lives was so similar, but I would never have the courage to say it out loud. And to every single one, I said, why not? What if you can help or your story can help somebody else? And sometimes we're afraid and we just don't know why we're afraid. But that being vulnerable, it's powerful. And it took me a long time to get there, though.
Right. And
Mhm.
I would say you're right. There's big fears about,
Mhm.
especially some of the big things that happen to people. The idea of sharing it with one person, let alone
Yes.
putting it in a book or something, is
True.
is scary.
Yes.
But it's so freeing, isn't it?
It is. And healing.
And as you said, if someone hears your story and goes, "I'm not the only one.
Mhm.
And you can inspire someone just from your story. You may never meet them.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful to hear, your book changed my life,
Yes.
or, that
Yes, it
thing you
is.
said to me had such a big impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice to hear, but I believe there are hundreds of lives we touch
Mhm.
that we will never learn about. All right. So, someone listening today, like we said, perhaps feels stuck, overwhelmed, like the horse of life bucked them off. What's the one thing you would want them to take away today?
Don't give up. Don't give up because no matter what you're going through today, there is light on the other side. And it's hard to see it right now. And uh, I hate sometimes when people say, take one day at a time. Well, that is too much sometimes. One day at a time, it's so overwhelming. But whatever you're going through, I'll say, just don't give up. Just don't give up because God will bring the right people in your life to help you get on the other side if you can't do it alone, or if you're at that stage where you feel like that there's no way you can recover from that. Just don't give up because somebody will come in your path that will help you through it.
And I understand because, when you said take one day at a time is too much for sometimes, right? Because
Yeah.
it's so heavy. It reminded me of the serenity prayer, the full version. Many people might have heard the God grant me the serenity to accept the
Yeah.
things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Everybody, I mean, most anybody knows that. The next two lines, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time,
Moment.
accepting hardship as a pathway to peace.
That's powerful.
And I won't get all religious because then it gets very, you know, talking about Christianity, but that is powerful, right?
It is.
Sometimes it is just like, what can I
One
do
moment.
in this next moment? Like,
Mhm.
this moment is hard, and how do I get to the other side of that moment? And then
Mm.
when I get past that moment, I can face the next one.
Yes. Yeah.
One step, one moment at a time. So, as I said, I'll share the link to your book on Amazon.
Mhm.
Is it anywhere else? But-
Well, right now it's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and it's also worldwide. Some people have problems on Amazon, but there are other places you can find if you put the name of the book "Buried Not Broken." It will come up on other sites worldwide.
All right. You said the next book,
The next
we
book,
should see it middle of
yes,
this summer.
yes, they're working on the cover right now, so should
Any
come
secret
soon.
tease on
Um,
that book?
well, the secret is on that one. I'm co-writing with my husband because he went through some tragedies as well. I went through my own journey of growth. And by the time we met in 2020, one of the things that brought us together, I felt with no doubt in my mind that he truly understood what I went through because what he went through. So that's was one of the things that brought us together. So it's a collection of some of his hardships, some of my hardships, but every single chapter has key takeaways and lessons that we learn together. And then lessons we learn as two broken people. We realize that we're not broken, we are whole. But at the time, we feel like we're two broken people, and we came together in the lessons we've learned through that.
I
So
would say it
we're
this way, yeah.
co-writing.
Two two scarred humans,
Yes, I like that. Yes, that
right?
that that found each other and able to thrive and bless and help others in the process.
Yes. And so we got the book That's coming out midsummer.
Hmm.
What's the best way to find you?
So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as Mia Godfrey. And also my website is just Mia Godfrey. So I use the same name
Sim-
everywhere. Same.
Yeah, that's
Mia
perfect.
Godfrey
And keep it
everywhere.
simple.
Yes.
You know,
Uh,
it's
somebody,
some people get all caught up in fancy names, but
yes.
sometimes the best thing is just go by your name.
Yeah, well, it's technically not my name because somebody else like, why don't you use your real name? And I was like, because nobody will ever find me. Because my real name is Michaela Nicoleta Halip Henry Godfrey. And I was like, who will ever try to even Google that or know how to spell it? So I changed it to just Mia Godfrey, just so it could be easily.
Well, and that reminds me, the last guest I had, we were talking about focus and flow. So we were talking about the book by the Hungarian author that it took me several years to be able to say his
Name.
first name. I still can't do his last name because it's like 20 letters.
Yeah,
It's like it's similar to your full name, but the masculine Mihaly or
Mike, Mihalake. I know there's a Mihalake.
yeah, it's quite interesting, but yeah, that's Mia
S-
Godfrey. Everybody can
Yes.
understand.
Someday when I'm gonna get into fiction, I will use maybe my real name or a name that will be hard to discover. But yeah.
Yeah, who knows, right?
Mhm.
One day at a time, one moment
One
at a
day
time.
at a time. Yes.
Thank you for your time and sharing your story with us, Mia. If you're listening, take that message that Mia shared, never give up. There is a light. Get in community. Let others surround you and
Mm,
love you out of whatever you're facing,
mhm.
or love you up to where you were trying to get. Because sometimes it's not about like being in a bad situation. You're
Yes.
just not, as you said, Mia, you're not satisfied. You're not
Mhm.
happy with your current situation. So, how do you move from there?
Yeah. And if you are happy, help others get to your level. So there's always something to do. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Sean.
All right. And thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll talk to you again soon. This is Daily Power Boost signing off. Thanks for tuning in to Daily Power Boost. Ignite your potential. Remember, transformation starts with action. So take today's insight, make it your own, and awaken your inner potential. Because remember, greatness begins within. Catch you tomorrow for your next Power Boost.